Back here in Topanga Canyon with Eddie Burnett. He's just been out on his job site and left it again, going back home. So he's driving down a freeway past the Robertson exit. It starts to cool off a bit, and it's being a hot day here in Los Angeles, like 110 or something. Past the Robertson exit, it starts to cool off a bit. Down through Santa Monica, the temperature drops to about 95. It's like driving into air conditioning. I'm pretty stoned and haven't quite managed to fight off the guilt for leaving the job. The drive in and out has tightened my back, that plus the stress of keeping this piece of shit car on the road. I'm achy, tired, heading into the anxiety that precedes depression. I fear this because once it gets going with my family gone and my walking off the job again and being too high all the time, that I'm liable to flip. I hit traffic at Bundy and some lane-changing asshole spins out and bangs a couple cars. There's one lane open and nobody's letting anyone in. Well, here the clown car is a plus because they can take one look and know I do not give a shit about my paint job or a dent here or there. And they know I don't have insurance, only might have a driver's license. So I hold all the cards. I look for a new Mercedes and I force my way in front of it. But I still spend an extra 40 minutes baking on the highway. A few cars heat up and blow their coolant. Past the bottleneck, the whole world opens up. I put the pedal down and top out at 55. My right front tire bouncing half a foot in the air if I go 56. The previously cut off Mercedes weaves past me with a vengeance, and I finally bounce and rattle a right turn on Topanga about 5 in the afternoon. Hopping like a kiddie ride through a creek and into the Sycamore's shady lane is like changing worlds. I cut the engine and hear a low rumble on Pacific Coast Highway. The Santana wind gusting high overhead, dry leaves crackling in the trees, and a hawk's screech. I park the death trap next to a Century plant. My feet are on fire, so I pull off my work boots and leave them on the ground. I water Rachel's hibiscus and study the image of the red clown car with the door swung wide open on its dented hinge and my empty boots stepping out on the dirt beneath the driver's seat. The boots mid-stride as though I'd been vaporized as soon as my feet hit the dirt. My drone boots burning there in the sun as though unaware that there was nobody wearing them to walk away. I turn from the hibiscus and walk barefoot in the warm garden again. The sycamore waves in the breeze, dry leaves fly in the air. The ground has a dry crust over it from this morning. Everything about this heat is amazing. I set the hose in the first trench of my cornrows. A little river runs through the shade of my plants, collects, overflows, runs, collects, overflows, through the cabbage, the kale, the carrots, the zucchini, beans, tomatoes, peppers. I open and dam these tributaries of relief, and I dig up a dam. I slap one down, the ground soaks the water like it's swallowing it. I wash another flood over the wet banks. Satisfied with that, I walk into the dark of the front room, switch on the record player, roll a triple paper fat-ass joint, start to smoke it, put it down, scrape a line off the bindle of coke. Billy always cuts his bindles from porno magazines, says it adds to the package. But considering my state of mind, scraping a meager line off an asshole is a little disconcerting. I leave the line alone and walk to the bathroom, but I get stuck there, leaning in the door jamb, looking at the gap in the floor and the ridiculous plank that covers it. I hear Rachel a week ago singing under her breath. The door to her empty room is open behind me and her covers are still on the floor. I find myself standing in her empty dark little space, pulling the covers smooth over her bed, tucking the edges and putting her books in order by the side of her cowgirl lamp. It's eerie, I'm a ghost. The vacancy of a room so lived in makes this life now, or our lives together then, one or another, so out of context that I just fade. An elevator shaft opens under my heart, we drop like a stone. I get out of Rachel's room as fast as I can, wishing out loud that I'd stayed on the job. I walk out to the front room, lay on the couch, cross my arms over my chest, and fall immediately to sleep. I should find a place where Sissy comes in, Rand. I'd love to find that. Do you have a minute?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Make it 3.
Well, here we go. Okay. Stevie Wonder's Ordinary Pain is blaring out the front door, and I'm heading for the front lawn to do some push-ups when I see a girl walking in the lane with Billy. Billy's the drug dealer up the street. This girl, her eyes catch mine, and they're big and they're blue-gray, same color as the century plant behind the death trap. She has long blonde hair that doesn't hang straight, but it's balanced and round, and it curves into a small face with high cheekbones and a generous mouth. She's wearing a man's white t-shirt, baggy jeans, and white tennis shoes. Billy is studying the ground before them as she talks. I duck into my yard and listen to them from the inside of my fence. I can't make out her words, but I hear her laugh. She sounds like a woman. It has an edge. She sounds confident, like she knows herself, like a tough girl in a 40s movie. She murmurs something, and her voice is warm, deeper than I would have thought to see her. And she can't be much taller than about 5 feet, weighs about 100 pounds. She laughs easily, commenting on something that catches Billy off guard, and he laughs in a happy, rolling guffaw. His laugh says he loves her, and I want in on the secret. What kind of girl can pull a laugh like that warm, that accepting, surprised and delighted from a guy like Billy? His laughs are usually stifled, at the most a couple quick barks the way a mandrill might laugh. Their voices trail off toward the beach, and I put a fine spray over the garden, running the hose back and forth over the lush tropical rain, and I soak my orange tree, my vegetable beads with cold droplets. On the lawn, my hands are cushioned on the grass, and I'm knocking out push-ups in sets of 50, and I'm rejuvenated. I can't help myself. I head back up to Billy's. I'm so self-conscious, it's like being in a crosshairs all the way up the lane, and I'm coming up there anyway, and she's probably gone by now. I knock at the door. "Come on in, Eddie." She's under Billy's arm, reading a book on the couch. She reaches for her cigarette on the ashtray and glances at me, but I won't look at her. I nod at Billy and I mutter, "What you say, Billy?" "Eddie, this is my daughter, Sissy." His daughter. Okay, here is Billy's daughter. Her hair is dirty blonde. She has a very warm, relaxed Julie Christie mouth, except for a deep scar over her upper lip, like she'd torn it kissing a barbed wire post. Her eyes are formidable, informed, amused, and she ignores me. This is Eddie. She looks at me and turns her eyes away. Smoke crawls out of her mouth and whiffs past her face. She puts out the cigarette. "Hi, Eddie." She unfolds herself from under Billy's arm and stands up, walking to the kitchen, still reading. She can't be much out of high school. She's beyond beautiful, with a wicked kind of self-assurance in her movements. Rather than follow her with my eyes, I sit down in the chair. And the girl in the lamp is Sissy, and that same smile, that near laugh. I'm spooked. I look up at her and she's squinting at me, asking me a question. "Had your dinner, Eddie?" "No." She pops the book shut like a preacher at a pulpit and glides through the kitchen door. Billy watches me catch my breath, and I lean out of the chair with my elbows on my knee, looking at the floor. Billy says, "Junior wants your plants." "Huh?" "I was talking to him last night about something that came all fucked up out in San Bernardino, and he said when he gets back he wants your plants." Maybe that's it. Yeah, he thinks it'll give him a chance to kick your ass. I've walked off the job, fucked up with my wife, my house is fucked, I'm fucked, no money, no plants, fucking losing everything here, and I can see my heart beating under my ribs. Billy chops a line for me. I do it. There's no face-saving way out of this. I am fucked. I have to get my ass kicked, lose my plants, and my wife comes back to a whipped puppy dog who has to join the asylum out there in the parking lot. She'll be gone with Rachel before the next big rains. And I think of Shadow, the guitar player, and what did he do? How did he get to where he can, dictate his own terms, play his own game, make his own way, be free? What does he do when he comes up against it like this? I raise my head. Billy seems detached, removed, but he's reading me. I fight the urge to say some brave thing, some defiant insult, some challenge to be carried back to that maniac Junior. And I realize I don't have anything to say. I also feel like puking, because part of me wants to ask Billy for help. Ask him to big brother me with Junior. Ask him to call Junior off, to do me a favor, to get me out of this shit. It's a lonely, disgusting feeling. I levitate above my chair with a stress-fueled coke buzz. Billy passes me a joint. "So what are you going to do?" I can't tell if he wants me to ask for help or if he's putting the pressure on me to accept the challenge of it. The moment passes and Billy's disappointed. "Well, no matter what, Eddie, I'll get my cut of your plants and I'll give it back to you, so you won't lose everything." His beard rises around his cheeks in a smile. His voice is cold, merciless, mean. There's a hard mockery when he says, "everything." Fucking weird is my response. Yep. He sits back in his chair and folds his arms over his chest. Freedom, man. This is an echo of what I was trying to say before the thought appeared. It scared me, ran back into the dark, whisking its tracks like an Indian in a TV show, and Billy laughed. Well, I don't want to fall apart here, Billy. You won't, but... He smiled and leaned forward, and I thought I could see something behind his sunglasses. He was laughing. It sure is gonna feel like it.